I am my brother and SIL's only relative in the city. When SIL was pregnant, I made it clear that I'd only babysit for them in the case of a serious emergency. For example, someone has a medical emergency. I won't babysit if they just wanted time off from being parents, because I don't have the free time for that. I work 60 to 100 hours a week, so if anyone needs time off, it's me. Last year, my brother and SIL asked me to babysit on the day of an informal work meeting, a lake retreat organized by my company. Everyone is expected to go, and it's frowned upon if you miss it. They wanted to go on a date. I said no, I have an important work event. They continued to nag me about how they haven't gone on a date for so long. The night before that day, they called in a panic and said their friend Mike from the next city over had been in a car accident, and I needed to babysit nephew for a few hours so that they could go visit Mike. I reluctantly agreed, with the stipulation that they'd be back by 7 a.m. the next day to pick nephew up so I could leave for my work event. They did not come back until 2 days later. I had to cancel on my superior's morning of, which looked awful. My brother and SIL never responded to multiple texts and calls from me. Their excuse was that Mike's life was in danger and they were too busy helping his girlfriend. I accepted that, since I had met both Mike and his girlfriend at a party in the past and thought they were good people, but I emphasized that this absolutely could not happen again. Throughout the next 2 months, my brother and SIL regularly used the excuse of aiding Mike in his recovery and needing to visit him in order to make me babysit my nephew. Mike's girlfriend's company and my company had a meeting 2 months after Mike's accident. I ran into her and asked her how Mike was recovering. Apparently, she had no idea he had ever been hospitalized. Neither did Mike. Mike had never been in an accident, and although brother and SIL had gone to visit them recently, it was for drinks and bowling, not bringing them chicken noodle soup in the hospital. I confronted brother and SIL, and they denied at first, but finally admitted they had been lying about Mike's accident so that they could go on date nights. They claimed I gave them no choice since I would never help them out when they needed time together because parenting was so stressful and difficult and I had no idea and it was just a little white lie. I made it clear that after this incident, I would never babysit for them again, and I've stuck to that. Yesterday my brother and SIL begged me to babysit for them because there was an actual medical emergency in SIL's family. They even sent me proof of the relative's hospitalization. I still said no. They didn't care about betraying my trust, so I don't care if they can't afford childcare or if their relative is in the hospital. They said I was a bad aunt, needed to get over my grudge, and a petty idiot. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, they burned that bridge. They used a lie about the health of a friend to put their priorities above your own. They made you miss work, and lied to you for months. They really expect you to do this? Screw that. They need to grow up, and if they weren't ready for the stress of having kids all the time, they shouldn't have had one. These people aren't just idiots, they are bad parents. Who the hell drops their kid off to the person they've tricked into babysitting and then ghosts them for 2 days? Not the idiot. He can stay home with his kids, and SIL can go visit her family. Problem solved. They were due back by a certain time but showed up 2 days later. What the hell? Screwing with your job, livelihood is unforgivable. Then, not only did they lie initially, about someone's life being on the line, they continued to lie repeatedly. There is no justifying any of that. These are their children. Welcome them to life as a parent. Being an aunt doesn't mean you agree to take the kids every time the parents want to go out. Your relationship with their kids is not for exploitation purposes. Not the idiot. They chose to become parents. They don't get to make you watch your nephew by lying because parenting hard and stressful. They knew what raising a child involves. That's incredibly rude to do, not to mention not cool, as it's like the boy who cried wolf. How would you know when they're actually telling the truth? I'd be furious. Totally understandable to refuse to do it again, it's their own damn fault. I've had this dog since I was a kid and he's getting on in years now, but he's still pretty sprightly for his age. I play rough with him in the garden or throw a ball around for maybe an hour a day, and he also gets walked twice a day for half an hour each and comes swimming with me whenever the weather's nice, which is most days. Suffice to say he's not lacking in attention or exercise. I have a neighbor who has 2 dogs of her own that are less energetic and prefer to lounge about in the sun rather than go adventuring. She also has a 12 years autistic son, Alex. He's a good kid but lacks some social boundaries and can fly off the handle when stressed out or bored. So one day my neighbor was working from home and was trying to keep him entertained so she could concentrate, and I got a text saying, "Hi. Hope it's okay, but I sent Alex to walk your dog." I said it was all fine and told them to have fun, and I figured that was the end of it. Nope. Alex now takes my dog out every day, without asking, so I'll come home and find he's disappeared with the gate open and I'll panic, and then the neighbor will also borrow him for an hour or two whenever she's at home and needs to distract Alex. I really don't mind if she needs some quiet time and asks occasionally, since I'm sure my dog enjoys the extra attention. I've just got a few issues with some of it. 1. My dog isn't a child's toy, he's a member of my family and I like having him close by. I have anxiety and depression, and coming home to my dog bouncing around waiting for a walk is one of the few things that really distresses me. Now, I get home and he won't be returned to me until dinner time, and I miss out on bonding with him outdoors. 2. And I'm not sure whether this is the fault of the neighbor or Alex, my dog has started developing bad habits since this whole routine started. He used to be very well-mannered, where you could drop a steak on the floor in front of his nose and he wouldn't eat it until you explicitly said he could. Now he begs at the table when he's inside, climbs onto my bed and couch without my permission. He's big and double-coated, so he leaves hair everywhere, and will just generally behave in ways he wouldn't have dared to a month ago. I vaguely mentioned it when we were having drinks together the other night and my neighbor laughed and said, "Oh, he'll climb right onto Alex's lap on the couch." I complained about it to a friend last night and she said I was being selfish, since I don't understand what it's like to raise a child with a disability, and that it's not hurting anyone if my dog gets extra attention, even though he's not really, since it's cutting in my personal time with him. And now I feel bad, because I can see how much Alex loves my dog, and I don't really want to be an idiot just because I'm jealous somebody else is spending time with him. Not the idiot. I would never let a child, including my own, look after or be responsible for my dog. Especially without permission. If something happens to your dog, like it's approached by an unfriendly dog and hurt, can you trust Alex to protect your dog? If a child, Alex or anyone else, was hurt by your dog, do you want that liability? I don't know how Alex would undo your dog's training, but if you don't like this arrangement, tell the mom it has to stop, lock the gate or keep the dog inside. Not the idiot. Put a limit on it. Tell her she can call you once a week and ask if Alex can spend time with your dog. Lay down some rules. Alex can walk the dog or play with him in the yard, but he can't bring the dog inside his place or feed him. Alex must return the dog after 45 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. Tell the neighbor straight up you're glad Alex likes your dog, but it is infringing on your time with your dog and the dog has picked up bad habits in this time. If they break the rules, warn them once, and if they can't respect your wishes for how your dog is cared for, then that's then ruining it for themselves. Having boundaries does not make you an idiot. Not the idiot. I would let the mother know the issue with assuming it's okay to just take him, them cutting into your time with your dog, and also ruining his good behavior. I'd let them know that the first time was okay because they asked, which they can do again, but they can't be upset if the answer is no. That is, if you're okay with them playing with him at all at this point. If you aren't and it's a hard no, you wouldn't be the idiot then either. He is your dog, your family member. You owe them nothing and you shouldn't have to shoulder any of the burden of a kid that isn't yours, special needs or not. My husband was a teen dad, we will refer to his daughter as an. On's mom, grandma and great-grandma were all teen moms. And is now 16 years old, and pregnant. And stays mostly with us because I am the one who pays, most of -75%, her private high school tuition. It had always been my husband who pays for On's expenses. When Ann turned 14 she wanted to move in with us to start her high school, HS, in the big city we live in. We checked on HS and since public school is terrible here, we decided to enroll her in a fancy private HS. She has always been set that she wanted to be an economist, and that she wanted to move to another country to pursue her dream. I have been separating some money for this purpose, too. My husband and I came to an agreement that I would also help her dream to come true, but I would cease any economic help towards her tuition if she became a teen mom, and did not know this, and he agreed. This conversation took place 2 years ago. And now, Ann is pregnant as soon as she finished her first year. I laid some facts down to Ann, gave her some articles and statistics about how teen moms are one of the most vulnerable groups of people, that this will hinder her dream of going to another country to study and that she knows the stigma it comes with. I recommended she terminated the pregnancy. On's mom is ecstatic and so is her grandma. They have this weird belief where they think they can make it for so much better for her than it was for them because of all the experience. I think they're absolute loonies. I bet they don't even have the money to pay for the hospital when the time comes. I believe they think we will pay for all of the unborn child's costs. I am dead serious about stopping tuition and using the money I've been saving in other stuff if Ann decides to carry on with the pregnancy. I have not and will not make the ultimatum of terminate or I'll stop paying your tuition, but I will tell her that I won't pay for her nice school and her child's expenses if she decides she wants to keep it. I don't even want to become one of those grandmas who take care of the child. I firmly believe a normal teen life has to be child-free. Money will go to some of the child's expenses and I will give no more. And can either enroll in a public high school, or one within her dad's budget, and set herself for a uni scholarship under dad's budget. My husband is telling me I need to understand the situation. I do not and will not endorse this teen mom dynasty in any way. This is the hill I will die on. I can actually continue paying for her fancy high school, saving a lot less for the uni, and some of the future child's expenses too, but I feel like I'll be rewarding her for being irresponsible and freaking myself over something I shouldn't. Husband firmly believes I am doing this to punish Ann and I am being an idiot for compromising her future over this matter. Am I the idiot? Edit. Ann was supposed to be on the pill. GYN recommended the pill instead of an implant because of some reproductive issues Biomom has. She stopped taking the pill because mom told her she would get fat and then proceeded to educate her on the natural way, as in having love before, during and some days after her period. Husband and I have been teaching her it since she got her first period when she was 11, but I'm afraid of Biomom's teachings, and at this point I just want to fist fight Biomom. Not the idiot. It's your money, do with it what makes you feel comfortable. I think you're being very generous to pay for most of her schooling and I understand why you would feel uncomfortable continuing to support her after this. But have a discussion with Ann about it before announcing your decision. I don't think the 16-year-old is necessarily an idiot. I think the husband who is expecting his wife to continue to pay for her stepdaughter is the idiot. If he feels so strongly about it, then maybe he should take over more of or at least an equal amount of the financial burden. Not the idiot. You have been more than generous with this girl who you seemingly have no legal obligation towards. You set guidelines with her father, and he agreed to them. You are not the idiot for wanting to follow through with your word. It's funny that your husband thinks that you are compromising her future. It seems to me that she compromised her own future. Not the idiot. You don't owe her a private education. You don't have to foot the bill for a baby you tried to prevent, and she's a freaking idiot for getting off the pill in the first place. You tried hard, you made a deal with your husband and now he wants you to back out of it because the crap hit the fan. If she doesn't terminate, then she deserves the life she has chosen for herself and it's not your job to make it okay or more convenient for her. Gran and her mom can do that since they are actively encouraging keeping the baby. My cousin is getting married in August, a destination wedding out in the mountains of Colorado. My husband and I are professional filmmakers and do a lot of work together. We own our own equipment and both act as operators sometimes, or otherwise we hire additional crew and take on different roles, depending on the job. My cousin, who I am decently close to, asked if my husband and I will video her wedding for her. This was after we received her invitation, our SVP'd yes, and after we've purchased our plane tickets, booked our hotel. She says she will pay us a small stipend, but she loves our work and can't find a good videographer out in this small town in Colorado. My husband and I don't want to do it. Not only would we have to cart all of our gear out to Colorado, but that's all we'd be doing the whole wedding. My cousin is super particular, really picky, and despite her saying that it would be okay if we only captured the best moments, those best moments are all over a wedding. We also don't film weddings, we've never filmed a wedding previously. The small work we do as a two-person crew is mostly for nonprofits, you just have to be filming the whole time. How would it ever work for us to be guests, and be paid videographers? We aren't taking time off, paying $800 each for plane tickets, and the hotel etc., just so we can work for way below our regular rate. We wouldn't be experiencing the wedding, we'd just be working, doing our regular job for this event. Also, I don't think it would be right for me to even accept the small stipend from her anyway, so we'd be doing it for free. My cousin has said that she wants us there first and foremost as guests, but I know that her ideal would be for the whole wedding to be filmed. If we do get to put down our cameras though, we will have to be charging batteries, or downloading footage. It's not something, for a one-night event, that you can just stop doing to enjoy yourself. I'm worried that saying no to my cousin will ultimately really hurt our relationship, but I genuinely feel she doesn't understand what a commitment this is for me and my husband to do for her, and, if I explain it all to her, I think she'll just hear me say no, without getting it. I'm really proud of my husband and my work together, and I know my cousin is expecting something of that caliber. It won't be of that caliber if we don't film the whole thing, never mind watching through all the footage and editing, and probably hiring our composer to write something for the piece, what we usually do with our commercial work, and what my cousin is used to seeing from us. I feel so torn up about this. I want my cousin to be happy, and she's definitely known to fly off the handle. She held a grudge with my sister for months over something petty a few years ago, but I don't want to work during her wedding that I'm already paying a lot of money to attend. Not the idiot. Sorry, but we wouldn't be able to enjoy your wedding if we were working. Filming a wedding is long, intense work, and it's impossible to be both a guest and videographer. Even if we were willing to miss out on the enjoyment of celebrating your special day in order to work, we'd need to be compensated for travel costs, shipment and insurance of our equipment, and hourly costs for editing and processing. It would be prohibitively expensive. You'd be far better off to hire someone locally. I thought to ask my videographer friend the same thing. Fiancé now husband was against it. I saw his side, which was everything you stated above, and changed my mind, and we never asked or even suggested it to a videographer friend. Fast forward 2 years, we were hanging out with videographer friend and he started talking about how he was so happy we didn't ask him to work the wedding, because he gets those requests all the time, and our wedding was one he actually enjoyed. Never mix business and pleasure. Not the idiot. I agree it was rude to ask after you already are SVP'd and booked, paid for the trip, and seems opportunistic. Just tell her that you don't have wedding filming experience, so you don't think you could do it justice. If she presses, point out the costs of the shipping your equipment and that you would need her to reimburse your trip costs, lodging, and the rest, as you would no longer be guests but hired help.